Hey, y'all. I never know when this thing is actually live. It says live over here, but it says live video is starting over here. So which is right? I don't know. But I'll say things a couple of times. How about that? It says you're now live. Okay, cool. Awesome. I want to get into this Facebook Live all about, do you have what it takes to be a business owner? Are you smarter than a fifth grader? No, I want to share a couple things from the trenches and want to talk about also, what to do if you don't hit your goals, and also talk about this boring versus sexy in terms of business strategies, in terms of quick wins versus long-term wins, all that jazz. So if we haven't met yet, my name is Sylvie McCracken. I help health professionals create their online courses, have more freedom in their life, make more money, impact more people, all of that jazz. In particular, get out of the one-on-one or greatly reduce their one-on-one, whatever, pick your poison. And I really want to chat today about, what it really takes to be a business owner. And I have been a business owner for going on a decade now, and in a couple different spaces, in the health space and in the business space. And one of the things that, I don't know if you've been a business owner for a while. First of all, would love to hear from you in the comments. Let me know if you're a health professional, what type of health professional you are, or if you've been in business for a long time. This probably you're like, yeah, I know, because Q1 for a lot of people, Q1 2022, if you happen to be watching this live or soon after, has been interesting for a lot of people because of a couple of different things. Everything that's going on in the world, the last couple of years that we're coming off of, and then if you're running, paid advertising or anything like that, that's a whole other rabbit hole. I'm not going to get into all of the different details, but I will share that we did not hit our Q1 goals. Now, granted, when we set goals, we are pretty aggressive, right? We set good, better, best goals, and it is not uncommon to fall somewhere in between there. And so not hitting our goals is not a new thing. It's not something that's never happened before or will never happen again, right? But what I want to talk about, what I really want to talk about is specifically to new business owners, because with new business owners, you are at this stage, and by the way, FYI, spoiler alert, if you are a health professional and you're moving from either your 9 to 5 or you're moving from your private practice brick and mortar to online, it really is, even if you've been a business owner, brick and mortar, and you've done this one-on-one rigmarole, whether you're a therapist or a naturopath or a chiropractor or whatever it might be, once you're going online, it's like this whole new wave. It's this whole new, you are a baby business owner again, right? You're starting from scratch. And I've done this to myself more than one time, right? In terms of starting a new business. And it's fascinating in terms of both the strategies and then also the mindset when you're just getting started, when you're starting out. So a couple of things. First of all, in terms of when you're not hitting your goals, when you've set a goal and, maybe it's a launch or maybe it is validating a course or whatever it might be, and it's not gangbusters from the get-go, that can be a really a hit to your morale, right? Especially if this is the first time you've done it. If this has happened to you 2-3 times, you're sort of like, oh, okay, that didn't work, pivot, But if you don't have that mindset, if you don't have that muscle of getting back up and doing it again, it can be hard. It can be hard to restabilize. It can be hard to get yourself back out there. I was just thinking about this because, I was just talking to a friend of mine who's also been in business for a long time, same Q1, like several business owners that I know have had like a Q1 that has not been anything to write home about. And what's interesting is, not that there is no mindset kerfuffles when you've been in business for a long time, but it's just a little bit less personal. It's a little bit less, you take it a little bit less personal, you take it, it's a little bit easier to see the data without adding the drama. It's a little bit easier to kind of see the stats, look at it as a spreadsheet and go, okay, what needs to happen? But this takes me to the short of that is, in terms of like, what do you do when you don't hit your goals? My team might have even been surprised to say, same goal. Like, we're going for that. We're doing it again. We're doing it again. We're doing a new, we're going to pivot some things, what worked, what didn't work, definitely debriefing, and what needs to change, right? One strategy might not work forever. And there are things outside of our control, right? Whether it's a Facebook algorithm or something else. But what's really, really, really important is I don't lower the goal. And that's what I really want you to take away from this is don't lower the goal. Don't change your goal, right? In terms of your outcome. Now, change strategies, sure. Change, if you, even in our program, right? We teach health professionals how to create their online course. We do it in a very 1.0 mentality, like not perfect by any means, because we want to go out there and validate, and we expect to get some feedback, not all of it, which was going to be thumbs up. Like we expect to get some feedback in the market of like, ooh, we got this wrong. Okay, great, let's tweak that, right? So we expect to be kind of nimble and be able to tweak that. But in terms of the goal of like whether your goal if you're starting out is 10,000 per month or whatever your sales number is, it could be $100,000 per month. That part, don't change that. Okay, even if you miss it, make sure you know where you're headed. And even if you miss it, you're going for the moon and you hit the stars, great, we're in the right direction. We're heading in the right track, on the right track, cool? Do not adjust the goal down. So that's number one. Number two, I wanna talk about this very briefly, the boring versus the sexy. And what I mean by this, I'm gonna take a sip of my tea. Those of y'all that have been on webinars with me or lives with me, I'm a big fan of tea. What I mean by this is, and man, I get reminded of this because I run two businesses. I've got one in the health space that almost doesn't require me at all. Like, unless we're doing a new project, I come in for that. But other than that, it runs like clockwork, right? And my coaching business, and that one I am much more of an active participant in. And so what's interesting to me is that, and I have to be reminded of this, so I am also talking to myself when I say this, is that the boring beats the sexy every time. And what I mean by that is, and if you're taking notes, please take notes. I would love to hear later in the comments what resonates with you, what speaks to you about this. But what I mean by that is really, yes, we love quick wins. We teach quick wins, right? So if you're a health professional, especially those of you that are in our program, if we get any clients watching the replay or whatnot, you can attest to this. We love a quick win, right? Like we want in the first few weeks to get you some sales, to get you, first of all, to really, for some people, really it's a need thing, right? It's a let's stay in business, let's get some cash flow so that we can actually keep this newborn, I like to call it, this business alive, right? So it's from that standpoint, but also from a quick validation of like, are we on the right track here? Do we have a program? Like, is this the right program for our market? Is this what our clients want? Blah, 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 right? So we teach this in terms of quick wins. I would file that under sexy. Okay, I would file that under like what I mean by sexy is like make X amount of money overnight, right? Okay, let's take that with a grain of salt because we're definitely not teaching get rich quick or any of that nonsense, but we do love a quick win. We do love something to get validated and know, like, do we have something here? Is our 1.0 on track? Like, cool, like, are we gonna keep going down this rabbit hole or do we need to change courses, change directions? Awesome. So that's a quick little sexy thing. That said, and this is an important disclaimer, okay, underline it, put it in all caps, highlight it, circle it, star it, put whatever, write Scooby-Doo on it, whatever you need to do. But this part, right, the boring part is what's most important. It is what you're going to want, what you're going to have the most resistance to. And it's also what's going to save you in things like we're talking about going into possibly a recession, we're talking about economic downturns, we're talking about inflation, we're talking about all these different things that are happening in the world, right? And in all of that, what wins, what beats, and again, my health business has been around for a minute, all of the things that continue to work are the boring stuff. Now, what am I talking about with boring stuff? I always love to give kind of an example that is outside of our world. And so I always talk about like building a house, for example. The sexy could be picking out the fixtures, whether it's going to be a brushed chrome or nickel or whatever, right? That's all the sexy stuff. The windows, the roof that's got, Spanish tile, all that good stuff. Sexy. What's boring? What's boring when building a house? What kind of looks like not much? What kind of is ugly, but necessary? Not only necessary, but I would say crucial, right? And those are things like foundation. Those are things like insulation. You don't even see these things except for when you're building, right? But you're pouring a foundation. Now, for anyone that's built a home, for anyone that's owned a home and has had renovations or anything like that, you know full well things like, and especially anyone in real estate investing, that's a whole other category of knowing what is important in a home. You're looking at things like foundation and things like how's the HVAC working, and right, like the last thing you care about is a faucet. Anything that, like, all the pretty stuff, cool, we can replace that, we can do that again, we can change it, doesn't matter. The stuff that matters is the foundation. Are you going to have, are you building this thing? Is this a house of cards or is this actually solid? Now, I say that because again, I always love to zoom out and to get out of our, world of business and online things and sales and marketing and all that jazz when I'm talking about this. But then I'll bring it back. I'll bring it back for you. What's boring in business is often the stuff that, especially in the beginning, it looks like nothing, y'all. It looks like nothing's happening. The foundation pouring, the concrete slab in business is things like really consistency, right? So consistency, whether it is in your sending out an email, in posting on social media, whatever, pick your poison, right? You certainly don't have to do all these things, whether it's Facebook advertising, doing Facebook Lives like I'm doing, whatever it might be, the consistency, that building of a consistent rhythm will beat sexy and a one-time flash, launch that goes well. Like you can make $100,000 once, great, fantastic. And that might sound really, really appealing right now, but the reality is over the course of years, wouldn't you rather make $100,000 a month consistently? And this is a huge and, which is really ideally with systems, ideally with automations, ideally with outsourcing, ideally with things not only depending on you being alive, awake at your desk and whatever, right? Now, again, I'm not talking about get rich quick. I'm not talking about sipping martinis all day by the beach, but I am talking about having a system, having a process, having something that comes in, something that works without you having to actively work it. So, this is, and again, I teach, new business owners a lot, and I teach established business owners. These are two different categories of people, right? If you're a new business owner, if you're new to the online world, so even if you've had a brick and mortar for a long time, if you're new to the online world, I consider that new business owner. We're going to work on things that are we're going to work on the quick wins, first of all, make sure we have a product, make sure we can make some money, make sure we can validate it, and set up those systems that are going to take a while to pay off. And I was just thinking about this as I got a couple of clients recently, and I was like, where'd you hear about us? And they mentioned a podcast episode I did, I don't even know how many years ago, right? And I thought to myself, there it is, right? Like that's something that back then did not, like in that moment, the day the podcast went live, there were no fireworks, right? But it's something that consistently, because I've done so many of those, because I've put myself out there, it continues to pay off. So anyway, so that's one thing. And the second thing is when I teach established business owners in terms of hiring, scaling, ops, automations, all that good stuff, it's a whole different ball game, right? So I wanted to mention this to you because if you're in that, first of all, if you're setting goals and you're not hitting them, understand that first of all, some things take a little while to pay off, right? So in terms of those consistent, boring things, the foundation, you're going to be really, really glad you poured that solid foundation in that house 10 years from now, as opposed to you could probably get away with, a foundation of sticks and mud, and it would still look like a pretty house for about a week, okay? Until it all comes crashing down. So I want you to think about that when you're setting up your business. Like, do you have what it takes? Do you have the, and if not, get it, right? And what I mean by get it is build that muscle, right? Either get the help that you need. So if you have no idea what you're doing, I talk to people all the time. People are in my DMs or emails or texts or whatnot in terms of trying and getting ready to get ready, right? Getting ready to get ready for years and years and years, maybe even putting up a little website or maybe even, launching a little thing, with your best guess. And if it's not working, get support, right? Do you have what it takes? Are you going to treat this like a true business? Invest in yourself in whatever. It doesn't have to be with us, right? If you are a health professional that wants to create an online program, I definitely think it should be with us. But, whatever it is that you want to do, hire the best person, the person that's done it, the person that can get you from A to B. And also really have that mindset, that muscle of being like, all right, let me iterate again. What I love about our clients, I just shared something on my stories. If you're not following me on Instagram or Facebook, you definitely should be. That I just shared, in terms of like how quickly things can move, right? A client was just sharing about, man, I've been procrastinating this thing, sat down, went through the module, implemented it, got it done, got clear. Great, let's get that momentum. And doesn't mean it's gonna go perfect. Doesn't mean she's gonna launch and make $100,000 next week. Matter of fact, probably won't happen. That's unlikely. But getting that momentum, getting that going, getting back up, getting it done, and prioritizing the boring over the sexy. 9 times out of 10, okay? We're gonna sprinkle some sexy in there. I know, like the fun stuff, the creative stuff. I wanna do a logo and this and that. If any of my clients pop on later, they're gonna be like, yep, she's told us to stop playing and get back to work on the foundation. Yeah, like we can create a nice looking logo, nice looking name, all that good stuff. that's all fine and dandy, but that's not what's going to pay the bills ultimately, right? Especially when you're first starting out, you have no business going out to get a logo. What you have a business doing is figuring out what your offer is, what your clients want, and putting it out there. So anyway, wanted to share that as we're 2 weeks and change into Q2. Would love to hear from you. If you're a health professional, definitely comment below. Would love to hear what type of health professional you are and what resonates most from this, whether it's on the goal setting front, on the boring versus sexy. And I always love a confession. So let me know, have you been focusing too much on the sexy, not enough on the boring? Would love to hear from you. And if you're a health professional that wants to create an online course or program, wants more time in your life, want more freedom to work when and where you want and make more money and impact more people, definitely apply for our Courses for Health Professionals program. I'm going to put the link below. Would love to get that advanced private training in your hands and see if we're a fit to work together. See if we can make that happen for you. And again, no judgment here in terms of the getting ready to get ready. Oftentimes people are like, well, I need to do XYZ before I come to you. I'm like, actually, no, that's like cleaning before the housekeeper comes. Like, you definitely don't need to clean before the housekeeper comes. So definitely, I would actually rather you come to us with a blank slate. See, my team's already on it. Link is already in the chat. Thank you, Jill, Hannah, whoever popped that in. Love it. And really just have what you have in your heart. I like to say you have gold necklaces in your head. You have very valuable information. Let us help you untangle that. Please don't do it without us, because oftentimes that makes it a lot more difficult. But definitely be real with yourself. Be, again, have that confession of like, all right, I've been getting ready to get ready. I've been thinking about it, saying I'm going to do this, maybe even telling my friends and family I'm going to do this for 10 years. If you're ready to actually finally do it, get some help. And go ahead and click that link below. Fill out the 2 questions and we'll let you know whether we can help you or not. Cool? All right. In the meantime, I will talk to you on the next Facebook Live and I'll see you soon. Bye for now.